Okay, that is working. Woo! Let's give this a minute for those that are coming on to Facebook. Hello, anybody? Let's see, what is happening? What is happening? Okay, if anybody's on here, please let me know that you're hearing me correctly. Let me just get this out of the way. And check that this is working on this end. Are you working, Facebook? We don't know. Here we go. Here we go. Yes, this is what I wanted. Okay, awesome. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this group. I'm going to get started in just a minute. I am getting all the techie stuff in place. If you are here, please let me know that you can hear me. It's been quite a challenging techie morning on my end, but here we are. Awesome. Thanks for letting me know that you can see me and hear me okay. So, for those of you who are new, welcome. I am Paula Agudelo and I am the CEO and founder of Sacred Interiors. I am so excited to be here. I am so excited to be doing this 10-day challenge to uplift your home into a sacred space. And today I am going to break a promise I made because I said I was going to be on here live for 11 minutes only each day during this challenge. And today is day 5. And as I was getting ready to share with you all that I could to help you figure out how to arrange your furniture and furnish your home, I realized there's a lot I want to share. So please bear with me if I don't stay at the 11-minute mark today. I'm not breaking the promise for every day, but today I want to just be able to spend the time sharing with you all the ways in which you can arrange your furniture for that sacred space to come to life. This is the part that a lot of my clients get stuck with. They don't know how to furnish their home. They don't know how to create an arrangement with the furniture they already have. They think they have to spend a lot of money buying new stuff. It just is overwhelming, and I get it. And that is why I want to share with you how you can do this differently. If you are on my Facebook group right now, you are seeing the presentation. I made a slideshow for you so you could see what I'm talking about. If you are not, but you have registered to be a part of this free 10-day challenge, then you'll get the slideshow in a little bit. As soon as I'm done, I'm going to email that to you so that you can see it and watch the video again and listen to what I'm saying with the pictures also that are really helpful. But if you're not watching the video with the slideshow, you will totally get the benefit of understanding what I'm talking about anyway. So bear with me and just do your best to follow along. So what is the first thing that I want to share with you today about how you should furnish and lay out and create the layout for your furniture in your home? Well, the first thing is that we need to make sure we are paying attention to the function of your room. Function comes first. A pretty room is awesome and amazing, but a pretty room that doesn't work sucks. So, style comes second, function comes first. You're going to begin. I'm going right into this, you guys, because I don't want to waste any time. We're going to begin with seating, okay? What are the spaces in each room that you need to have seating in? Chairs, love seat, a sofa. This is what I call primary seating, okay? And that is the first thing you need to figure out. How do you figure out what the primary seating needs to be? Well, what is the function of the room? What are you guys doing in that room? Are you watching TV? Are you doing homework? Are you playing board games? What are you doing in that home? And how many people do you expect to have in that room at one time? So I consider primary seating the amount of seating space that you need for your everyday life, for your children, your spouse, your dog, your cat, those that live in the space every single day. Those main pieces should be comfortable. Yes, they can be beautiful. Yes, they can look awesome, but they need to be comfortable, period. Like, haven't we all bought, I just went through this with a client where we bought a sofa because we wanted it quick, we wanted it fast, we needed it in the room yesterday, but it was not comfortable and it sucked. However, this wasn't a furniture that was going to be used a lot of the time. It was really just something for the background. It was something for, some quick sitting down to write some notes, but it wasn't a main sitting piece. And so if it wasn't super comfortable, we were okay with that. So make sure that your primary sitting is your secondary seating are all of the extra furniture pieces that are seen as accents. They are usually in extra seating for when you're entertaining and having extra people over. They are also a part of the space just to fill the space in a way that is functional for you to maybe put your feet up. So maybe it's a small little ottoman. Maybe it's a cute little poof where the kids can just, lay and read their books, or they can put their feet up or throw their backpack when they come from school. Those are secondary seating pieces that, as seen as accents, they can also add a lot of style, and they don't need to be as comfortable. A lot of us may have seen the really cool, very modern chairs that, some of the vendors online, or they're everywhere nowadays. They have very slim arms and they're very modern and clean and square, and they look really sexy, but they're not super comfortable. Well, those are great chairs to have anyway. Those are great chairs to have as secondary seating so that they can be accents for when you want the room to look really good, feel complete, and then have as extra seating for, guests that are coming over for just a little bit of time. So they don't necessarily need to be as comfortable. Okay, so we've covered that as far as the main seating goes. Now, what's next with the arrangement of your furniture? We're going to look at surfaces, okay? When we think of a living room, of a family room, of a bedroom, or a dining room, we know that there are surfaces in the space. Every table, every dresser, anything that you can put stuff on is a surface. Now, if you've been following my process, you by now should have a quiet space, which means nothing on any surface. You have only those main things that you're keeping in the room, but everything else is put away. The room feels spacious, open, and clean. How do we determine what kinds of surfaces, tables, dressers, etc., we need for the room? Well, they're also determined by the function. What do you need to do in that room? So for example, if you want to have a coffee table in your living room, you need to define what you're going to use that coffee table for. If you're going to be playing games on that table, board games, if the kids are going to be doing homework there. My kids love to do homework on the coffee table. If you're going to be eating, my boyfriend loves to eat at the coffee table. What do you need that table for? And that determines the size, and it also determines the material. So if I have kids that are going to be doing art on my coffee table, I probably don't want to have something that I paint that can easily chip and scratch. Also don't want a glass table because their fingerprints are going to be over it all of the time. If I'm using it for food, maybe I don't want something that has a lot of slots on the top where things can fall. About what makes sense, and some of it is really common sense, for the function of your space. If you need to clean it a lot, it needs to be really well. Or a granite piece, maybe some nice wood that is strong and doesn't chip away so easily would work. But if you just need it for decoration, then one of those faux marble pieces that you can buy at Wayfair really inexpensive might work really well. However, think of what you're doing on it so that you can determine how big you need it. There's nothing wrong or nothing worse actually than a tiny little coffee table where you barely have room to put a glass or a mug or anything that you want to place on it, and you just have no space. So really think about that. And then the other thing about the surfaces is think about your storage needs. Do you need storage in that space? And if you do, are you okay with displaying things and showing what you have? Or do you need storage with closed doors? This is how you define what goes in that room, okay? Again, we're not just putting things in it to fill it up, to make it look good. We want it to be super useful, because the more useful it is, the more time you'll spend there. And the more time you spend in a room that is useful, then the more you'll enjoy it. The more memories you'll have, the better memories you'll have, and the less stressed out you will be. Furnish each piece or each room with the right piece, okay? Now, if you work through this process and you start arranging things in your room right now, I also want you to live with that arrangement for a couple of days, because you need to know, what are the kids doing in that room right now? How are they walking through that bench I put on that wall? Does the cat like it? Does the dog like it? Am I actually spending time in that space? There's nothing worse than having really beautiful rooms in your home that nobody spends time in. It actually creates an emptiness in the energy of the home, and it doesn't, add to that coziness and that welcoming energy that we want to create for sacred spaces. And it doesn't matter how big or how small, you should be able to love every space of your home enough to spend time doing there. In my home right now, I feel confident working anywhere in my house. I have space to work everywhere and anywhere. I feel confident reading a book anywhere and everywhere. So really make it warm and cozy by making sure your needs are being met. Something else for a couple of days is, can you reach the table for putting your drink and your book down, right? So many people have coffee tables that they center in the room, okay? And then it looks good because it's centered in the room, but then nobody can reach. No chair or sofa that has easy access for someone to put their drink on the table. You have to get up and put it on the table. That doesn't work. That's not comfortable. So make sure that you think about those things first. Now, shopping for furniture. This is a huge thing, a huge question I get asked. Shop for furniture. The first thing I want to say is that you don't have to buy everything for your house at once. You don't even need to buy everything for a room at once. In fact, I prefer to go through a process where you slowly buy things that make the most sense for your space. This applies for shopping, not just for everything in your home, but also for anything that you're decorating with, anything that you are using in the space for beauty, for style, and for function. So I have a little trick, I guess. I actually learned this when I was chairing at my kids' parent council back in the day when we were going to our Waldorf school. And I learned this, in context towards volunteering, but I actually borrowed it and use it for shopping for your furniture. And that is, do you have time, talent, or treasure? Okay, do you have time, talent, or treasure? And these concepts apply to shopping for anything in your home, and also for taking action in the projects that you want to finish for your home. So if you have time, that means you have time to look through Facebook. Facebook Marketplace is a great resource to buy. I love buying secondhand. because not only you're helping the planet, you're also oftentimes saving money, but you're also able to create a lot more unique spaces by not just buying everything from a catalog at the store. So if you have time, going through OfferUp or Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace is a great way to shop for furniture that fits the space well and fits the function of your family well. You can also shop at estate auctions, thrift stores, garage sales, floor samples from warehouses and stores that are closing, or even stores that are changing their collections. A lot of times they'll sell you the floor samples for a lot less than they would normally cost. So I highly suggest that if you have time, you look for those things. And honestly, sometimes it doesn't even take that long. Do you have talent? Maybe you can repaint things that you already own. Maybe you can even make stuff and have a friend or your spouse, your partner help you make a table. Repurpose things. I recently shared, and if you're watching the slideshow, you're seeing a picture of me in this little breakfast nook area that I designed in my new home, and I actually repurposed my old headboard that I loved, and I didn't have a place for it, and I repainted it and placed it to create a banquette seating. So it's the back of a bench where we sit for breakfast every morning. And I love seeing that piece there. It makes such a statement. It is so beautiful. It's so meaningful to me. And it was a great way for me to repurpose that piece. So having a little bit of a skill, having some talent, and honestly, just having the willingness to learn is enough. You can nowadays go on YouTube and find a do-it-yourself, DIY, I never know how to say that, videos for everything, anywhere. So, spend some time doing that and tune into a skill. There's also so much satisfaction that comes from that creative process of seeing the before of something and repurposing and refurnishing and repainting something is such a wonderful project, and it makes you feel so, so, so good. If you have treasure, meaning if you have money, well then great. You can get custom-made pieces. You can source via a designer and get trade pricing for really upscale pieces. You can just pay full retail and go to a store you love. And a lot of furniture stores actually have interior designers on staff, and they can help you figure out the right size. They can help you figure out the right arrangement. Also, just keep in mind that they're also going to want to sell you on products from their store. So be mindful. Buy everything from that one place, but if you need a high-end product, you can absolutely go that route as well. You need at least a couple of these things, time, talent, or treasure, to make any change in your design. And if you're watching this video and if you're learning about this process, you probably already do. You probably already have a couple of those things. So because I want you to become really focused on what you do have as opposed to dwelling on what you don't have. A lot of times we get stuck in thinking we have to buy all these things. The truth is you don't. You can make do with what you have. Start somewhere and start somewhere now. You can focus on what you have and you can have so much fun. Now, we are going to also talk about layout right now. And the first thing I want to say about that is I want you to forget about some rules that you may have been told about arranging your furniture. Maybe your mom always told you have to push the sofa towards the wall, or you have to put the sofa towards the largest wall. I don't know. There's so many different myths and things people have made up over the years about how you should arrange furniture. But the truth is, first, you're going to determine what you are doing and what you're arranging based on your functions. We are going to also give ourselves permission to think differently, to move stuff around. Why? Because it has to feel good, not just look good. It has to feel good. So, what are some arrangement tips I'm going to give you today? One, I want you to think about defining your areas or your spaces into zones and create what I call moments for different spaces. What does that mean? Whether you have large rooms or not, most of the time these days, we have multi-purposing rooms. We have many needs for one room, okay? So in that context, you have to be able to create different areas within that space. For example, I have this office where I'm in right now, and my office has my needs first, right? I have my desk, I have my chair, I have my armoire where I keep my books, but I also needed to be able to keep an eye on my kids when they're doing art and homework. I also wanted a space for them to be able to get messy and do their thing without me being constantly cleaning up. So I set up a corner of this room to have an art table where they can do their thing. So inside of this room, those are two purposes that it serves. And the last purpose is I also use this as my meditation room for my work related meditations. So I have an altar in this space and some space on the ground, on the floor, where I can have a cushion and a shawl to cover myself up when I meditate. So that's three purposes in just one room. And this room, I wish I could turn this around to show you, is zones and create moments that invite you to do certain things you want, like meditating. If I see this space in front of me with my all and meditate and just spend a couple minutes to do that. That's called invitation. Create moments that invite you to do certain things in your life. Create new habits in your life based on how you arrange your furniture. I do the same for my kids. They have their own quiet little zone where they can be invited to maybe play with a stone, maybe have some flowers near them. These are invitations that you can create in each space, but also for functions. So if you need art, if you need a place for homework, if you need a place to sit and read, if you need a place to record videos, create zones within your spaces that define what you're doing. A bedroom, for example, you want to place the biggest piece first. You want to place your bed where it makes the most sense. Energetically, I prefer to have a bed facing a door, or at least where I can directly see who's coming into my space. This is a Feng Shui principle. It's an energetic command principle where you are in charge of what happens in your space. So if you can, place your bed facing the door. Also, I love having steady walls behind a bed because it creates stability. It creates a lot of feeling really grounded and really supported. I love having two nightstands in a bedroom as well, preferably matching nightstands. But if they don't match, which I have used before, and I actually love that style. However, if they don't match, I want to make sure that there's two things I'm considering. One, are they high enough to, be functional so that I can place a drink when I'm in the bed or a book or whatever? And are they also, both of them, the same height? That's important. Now, I'm not going to go into the energetics of the space today because that's on day 7, I believe. But if you are striving for a steady, solid marriage or romantic relationship, or if you're looking to attract a lover into your life, it is extremely important that you have matching nightstands that are the same height and that they create balanced symmetry in your space, okay? A dining room. Well, usually a dining room is where we place the table is defined by lighting. Lighting in a dining room is super important, and it's usually like this really connected relationship between the table and the light. So most of the time you're going to be called to place your dining table right underneath the light. Now, I'm not going to go into lighting today. There are ways to play around with that if for some reason your light is not centered in the space where the table goes. There's ways to work around that, but most of the time, that's how it goes. Something about arranging your dining room and where I see most people feel disconnected from their dining room is that they have too many pieces that all match each other and it feels boring, cold, and just blah. So, My biggest tip for dining rooms and one of my favorite things to do in dining rooms is mix and match your chairs. I love having two head chairs that are maybe tall and maybe they're upholstered, maybe they even have arms, and then maybe the rest of the chairs on the side of the table are all the same, but there's two different ones at the head of the table. Maybe you can use a bench instead chairs on one side of the table. I have even used office chairs, like desk chairs, really nice ones, obviously, but they look so good in my dining. Three different kinds of chairs. I love mixing and matching chairs. It adds a lot of personality to a space. You could also simply but change the upholstery on the chairs. There's a lot of ways to get creative. Maybe you have all matching chairs, but the table is different. Whatever it is, and I'll go into this a little bit later, just get creative with the chairs and the benches. It's a great way to add style with how you're arranging your furniture there. For the family room. Now, for the family room, my suggestion usually is place the sofa first. Find out what you need to do in the room. What is the focal wall and the focal point of the room? A lot of people have a TV in their family room. Great. If that's your focal room, your focal place in the room, and that's your main activity, then of course it makes sense that you're going to place the furniture facing the TV. A couple of things about that. One, if you are doing that, make sure that you're resourceful and open-minded enough to move the sofa away from walls. It's okay to have a floating sofa in our room, even if it's in the middle of the room, because it's facing the TV and it has a closer space towards or closer distance towards the TV. You don't want to have a family room where the sofa is really far away from the TV. However, when we go into rugs and lighting and window treatments next week, I'll walk you through how you can make sure that sofa feels really anchored in the space. However, for the sake of focusing on today, I want you to just get really creative with how you arrange the sofa first and make sure that you're stepping away from old rules that maybe in the past you weren't willing to open up about. The coffee table and the sofa are key. The coffee table and the sofa are essentially one entity, right? They relate to each other so much. I gave you the example earlier about a coffee table being too far away from a sofa and how it doesn't work. So make sure that you can reach the coffee table. Make sure that function comes first. The coffee table, again, doesn't have to be centered with the rug or even with the room. Now, if symmetry is what you want and it feels really important to you because you want to have that coffee table in the center of the rug, then that is your cue to go bigger. Bigger is better. Bigger is always better with coffee tables, at least. Home office. Same applies for the command position I was talking about earlier. The command position means you are in charge of your space. It means there's no vulnerabilities of any energies of people or anything coming from your back. What does that mean? If I'm sitting here right now in front of this camera and I'm recording this video, the last thing I want is for my crazy kids to come through the back, right? So I want to have direct vision of where people come in and out of the space. That puts me in control because if they're coming into the room, I can just go like this, or I can just go like this, or I can just go like this, whatever it is that your communication style is to say, do not come in here. That is your command position. It is really important for office spaces, especially because it keeps you as the CEO. You're the boss. You're the one who's in control of your space. So make sure that you arrange your desk and your chair in a way that makes the most sense, where you can face the door and see who comes in, or at least have a diagonal view of where that door is. That's super important for arranging the office. Now for office, real quick, also don't be afraid to float your desk in the room. It doesn't have to go against the wall. It does not have to go against the wall. It can be very much in the center of a space, which I actually love. That is how my desk is right now. It's almost in the center of my room and I have this wall behind me. And it just feels so good in here. I love working in my office. Having a nice background is also really important, especially nowadays when we have so many Zoom calls and video calls, and there's a lot of online businesses that are thriving and that are happening, and you want to have a beautiful background to record yourself with. That is also a really important part, especially in a home office, if that's where you work. Now, what happens if your room feels off? Well, if your room feels off, it's because it is, period. That is a really good way for you to honor yourself and honor that how you feel is valid. So if it feels off, it's because it's off. Now, the first thing I always do when things feel off in a space is check in with my energy. And again, we're not going to go into that today. But if you've been a part of this challenge and you were here for day one, you can use that same practice of breath to quiet your mind and really connect with the space first, just so that you can get really clear on what actually feels off. If you haven't done that yet, then that's your homework today. Go back to day 2 and find out how you can connect in your space with your space through your breath. But if a room feels off, then it's usually 2 different things. One, either things are too matchy-matchy or too disjointed. Too matchy-matchy means everything is the same color, everything is the same size, everything is from the same furniture store, everything shopped for furniture. No judgment, but that is so boring. So if it feels off, it's because it's exactly that. The other extreme is that maybe crazy and you mixed way too many colors and way too many patterns, and nothing seems to have harmony or a sense of unity and intention. Now, the other thing that could make your space feel off is scale is wrong. And I'm going to spend a little bit of time, Yes, I am going to spend a little bit of time talking about scale today because that is the main issue people struggle with. I don't care the style of your room. Let's forget about how it looks for a second. If the scale is off, it could be the most beautiful piece of furniture, but if it's paired with the wrong coffee table or the wrong side table, it just feels wrong. So I want to encourage you to be resourceful and be creative and be willing to mix and match styles. You guys, that's my favorite thing in the world to do. And it's how you can get the most elevated and professional looking designed room. I don't know what I just said, but you know what I mean. It's the best way for you to get a beautiful room that has a unique personality, that speaks authentically to what you love. Who cares what Pinterest says? Who cares what anybody says on HGTV? It's about how you do you. So mix and match styles. Yes, there is a right way to do it. Yes, there are wrong ways to do it too, but at least have fun and get started with what makes you feel excited, what colors you love, what patterns you love. I've had to fight tooth and nail to have 2 leopard print chairs in my living room because my kids were totally against it. But you know what? I found those chairs and I wanted them and I have them, and now everybody loves them. That is where everybody sits, and now they don't complain anymore. And it was weird at the beginning. They didn't understand thing, and I owned that, and it feels super good in my space. So be willing to mix and match styles, patterns, match leg styles in your furniture. Don't think you have to have all the legs for the sofa match. If they're all brown, if they're all black, if they're all silver, they don't have to match. In fact, I love when you have a sofa that has legs, maybe wooden legs, and then you have another piece of furniture that is all upholstered and maybe has a skirt bottom. It doesn't all have to be the same. It doesn't need you really weird on my slideshow. Typos for sure. I don't know what I meant there, but whatever it is. Now, one more tip I'm going to give you. Shop around your house. This is probably the I don't know, I'm not going to say life changing. I don't know what I'm going to say, but shopping in your house is the most fun. And okay, now I know the quickest way to get that satisfaction of having what you want now. Because if you're like me, you want it now. You want the room put together now. I have clients and I love them so much, but I have clients who are willing to wait for the right piece. They're willing to save. They're willing to just wait the 17 weeks or 27 now of receiving a custom made sofa. And while there's a lot of gratification in that, and yes, you want to be smart and think long term and things that are going to last and they're going to be timeless and all of that. But I don't have that. I don't know if it's the millennial in me. I don't know, but I want it now. And so if you want it now, shopping around your house is the best way to do that because you can move things around. You could choose tables from the bedroom that you can move into the living room and vice versa. Get creative with garden stools, side tables, even desks can be used as console tables. I have my dining room in my office right now, and that's our art table in the office, and it looks amazing. Work with things around your home, little stools, little accent pieces, little poofs. The ottoman can be your coffee table. The ottoman could also even be your nightstand. There's so many different creative ways to add those accent pieces in small spaces. I love using my dining chair tables or my dining room chairs in my bedroom sometimes. And then I move a side chair that I have in my bedroom into the dining room. The same thing that I was saying with the office chair. Even this chair sometimes I have in my dining room and I move it around because it's fun. It changes the energy. I like to move things around based on function, of course, but also colors. I move things around based on colors. If I want a more subtle color in the dining room for whatever reason, maybe I'm hosting an event and the color scheme is going to be more neutral, then I'll remove my very bright pink chair, put it in my office, and then use the white one there. Let's talk a little bit about scale because I promised I would talk about this. Scale is the biggest mistake I see people make in furniture layouts, okay? If things are too small, they are disconnected from each other. Think of things in pairs and relationships, like your sofa and your coffee table, they're in relationship. Your sofa and side tables, they're in relationship. Your rugs are usually an anchoring point. Bed and your nightstands are in relationships with each other, okay? And so because the size is often wrong, then the space often feels off. Now, how it feels off most of the time, it's that it's too small for the space. Rarely do people choose things that are too big for the space. I mean, that does happen, but most of the time they choose things that are too small. And then look how this takes you into a vicious cycle. Are you ready? This is the biggest change you can make today to uplift your home and elevate it into a much better design. If the space feels empty, because they have the wrong scale furniture, then guess what they do? They buy more things because they have a need to fill the space more. They think they need more stuff to fill. Instead of doing that, if only they chose the right scale, a bigger piece that would fit the space better, that's all they would need. So instead, they're stressed out, they spend more money, they spend more time, they have more stuff that they have to take care of, that they have to keep up with, and then this takes them into this overwhelmed, exhausted, frustrated, stressed out cycle of their home maintenance and how it looks and blah, blah, blah. So less is always more and bigger is always better. Doesn't that sound funny? Okay, so if you're watching the slideshow, I'm not going to spend too much time here, but I'm basically showing you here two pictures. One is a layout of a room. On the left, you're seeing a coffee table that is disjointed. This room looks awesome. I mean, I love this room, and it works style-wise. However, when you think of the function, the coffee table is too far from all of the chairs and the sofa. There's a couple of little stools close to the table, which you could sit there, but they're not the most comfortable. So maybe for entertaining, that would be where people would sit, but that kind of doesn't make a lot of sense because the bigger furniture is the most comfortable, and that's where most people are going to want to sit. Now, instead, the picture on the right has a much bigger coffee table that you can use from any area that you sit in. You guys still with me? Are you guys ready to make this change in your home? So I'm going to walk you through some reminders, and then I'm going to tell you again exactly what you're doing today to make this change. Some reminders. 1, define the activities for your room first. Function first. 2, arrange your primary sitting around a focal point in the room. Is it the TV wall? Is it the fireplace? Is it a gallery wall? Where do you want to look when you sit? 3, complement everything in the layout with secondary seating, secondary accent furniture, little pieces that help the function of the space even more and that look really cute. Live with it first. Live with it for a couple of days. See how your kids like it. See how your cat likes it. See how you like it. And make changes, okay? Mix your furniture up. Consider the scale of your furniture, especially the height and the width, and just mix it all up. Don't be afraid to mix styles, shapes, colors, woods, metals, fabrics. Have fun. We're almost ready to decorate, but please don't. Please don't. Here's your sacred action for today. I want you to spend some time looking at your Pinterest board. Okay, you've been working on your Pinterest board. I want you to look at it and understand and study how are the main furniture pieces there placed. How far is the coffee table from the sofa? What size nightstands are you seeing? What size TV console are you seeing? That one is a big one. Most people choose a Surface for their TV. That is way too small. If you have a big TV, you need a big piece. Your furniture piece, where the TV is, should be way bigger. At least, I'm not very good at numbers, you guys. I don't know how to speak in numbers like that. But it should be, it should be bigger than the TV, okay? I like to see at least a foot of space of the TV to where the console or the credenza is. So just don't go smaller at all. Okay. So arrange your furniture also keeping in mind your function needs and how you live in the space. I've been saying this like a broken record today because that is so important. Shop around. Fun going into the office and the bedroom. Think outside of the box, right? Place armchairs in a dining room. Place side chairs in the family room. Move things around and have fun. Get creative, move them around. Have your kids help you push furniture. I posted something funny on Facebook today about, there's nothing braver than a woman who is willing to move furniture by herself. And that is so true. So have fun, put some music on, light up some Palo Santo, put your hair up, pour yourself a cup of tea or coffee or a glass of wine, whatever you want, and have fun moving things around, because not only will you create a better arrangement when you have fun with it, but you'll also, without even knowing it, will cleanse the energy and move the stagnant energy of your space by moving things around. So sorry that this was a little longer than normal, but I really had to go deeper into this. I will see you guys tomorrow. I also want to tell you this real quick. If you've been staying with me all this time, I want to give you an amazing surprise, which is that in just a couple of minutes, I'm going to share underneath this video a link for you to get an early sneak peek into my 9-week program that starts very soon. You're getting the sneak peek of what we do inside of my one-on-one coaching program, where you get to design your life and you get to design your home into a sacred space. So check it out, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Sat Nam.